Hey there everybody, it's Eric with Better Every Shave. Today I am back with an update on my surgery as well as having had Hurricane Idalia hit this morning, and I'll save you the suspense. There's really been very little in my area, but that's not the way the weathermen want to tell it. That's for sure. Got to get their entertainment value out of it, right? But yeah, it looks like north of us, we had some flooding along the coast, but it looks like north of us has been getting a lot more water, and it's still just about 11:30 in the morning. So there's the king tide, which is coincides with the full moon. So it's sort of a bad time for the storm surge to come in because of that tide, which is supposed to be sort of at its peak here either now or very soon, and that brings in even more water. So looks like a lot of waterfront communities have been inundated, which is kind of exactly what you'd expect with a storm, but there really wasn't as much wind and rain. Inland looks like there's a lot of rain happening, so this storm looks like it's going to head across Florida and then into Georgia and maybe South Carolina as well along the coast. So I'm sure there'll be lots of rain and all of that, but for the most part it doesn't appear to be a massive killer storm like they had so hoped it would be. I'm sorry, I get jaded with the reporters. They just seem to obviously hope for the worst, because of the spectacle, and I don't think anybody in the path of one of these storms, myself included, feels that way. And we would like to have accurate, balanced reporting, and some stations are okay with that, and streamers and stuff like that. But yeah, it seems like all the major news outlets are just... I'm just tired of the guy standing in the wind and rain and saying, look at the wind, look at the rain. Like, we get it. We understand what a hurricane is. You don't necessarily have to stand out there like a dork getting soaked. Anyway, enough of that. I am going to shave in honor of the hurricane that started just south of Cuba. I thought I would throw in some Havana soap today. And it's one of my favorites anyway. It's one of the few that I'm actually working down a good bit. I'm about halfway to possibly 2/3 of the way down there, which is pretty good. And I wanted to doctor it a little bit. Havana has a really nice tobacco fragrance to it, but I wanted to throw some... I have this tiny sample of Crowne and Crane tobacco and amber, tobacco leaf and amber, which is probably the best smelling sort of pure tobacco that I've come across. Very much like a humidor, just that sweet sort of smell, earthy smell of tobacco. So I put a little bit of that in there too, and have a nice lather whipped up in Captain's Choice bowl with the amber Aerolite brush. And go ahead and wet my face and get started. I certainly hope everybody out there is doing well. If anyone who watches this is in the path of the storm, I certainly hope that you are safe, first and foremost, and then secondarily that you don't suffer any property damage. But of course, things are just things, including houses and cars and even shaving equipment. As terrifying as that may be, to lose your shaving equipment, it can be replaced. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm half joking, but yeah, I genuinely hope that everybody is safe. This is one of the few storms that I didn't leave for. Irma, yeah, I've left for most of the other ones that have happened. I've lived here for almost 16, 17 years, and never felt the need to leave in like 10 years. Just didn't have any storms that came here. And then all of a sudden the last 5-6 years, like, you know, it seems like every year, every other year, we've got a storm that I have to worry about. So anyway, Schick M1 adjustable with the my brain is not working today. Supply black label blade, and it's probably I don't know, probably 6-7 uses at this point. They last for such a long time that honestly I tend to forget how many uses I've had on it. But still one of my all-time favorite razors. It's like shaving on easy mode. For me, at least. When I'm doing that, I can get right up onto the edge of my lip. There's absolutely no fear or danger of me hooking and grabbing. I don't know if you know what I mean there. There are certain razors that feel really good on this surface of the skin, and as soon as you get around one of those nooks and crannies, if you're not real careful, they will reach out and bite. And usually that has to do with blade gap for me. And you know, I try my hardest, obviously, not to have that happen, but every now and then, just, you know, it just feels like it reaches out and grabs you. So, anyway, that was on number 4 to start, setting 4. And I'll go down to 3 for the across the grain. So, I had surgery, hip replacement surgery, 2 weeks and 2 days ago. And there were terrific promises of, you know, quick recovery and very little pain overall, and just being able to get back to life and also reverse the pain that I've been feeling previously. And I have to say that they were completely correct. So the pain that I had previously, not only in the hip that got replaced, which was very painful, sort of shooting, stabbing pains whenever I'd move certain ways, and that's gone. And then also the pain that I felt in my left hip from compensating for the right one is gone. And so now the only real pain I have is the soreness of the tissue, the incision, and you know, I'm not going to get into the gory details of what they do, but you know, the insertion of the replacement and all that stuff. So that's all still sore, which you would kind of expect, but getting better by the day. And the other important thing is that obviously at first there's essentially like no range of motion. You can barely move your leg. Certainly can't, you know, bend and do lots of articulation of that joint, and that has improved and continues to improve pretty quickly. So, you know, going from not being able to, you know, do anything with putting on shoes, or I got a little spot of blood there. Did something. Not sure where. I'm rinsing with cold water, by the way. Well, what passes for cold water in Southwest Florida. But and I've noticed that when I do that, it really, I don't feel any of the nicks and cuts, and so I'll have that little bit of blood, and I can't, maybe that's it. There's a little spot right there. I really can't feel it. So, and then it stops bleeding pretty quickly, and you know, so it may look painful, but it's not. So yeah, I've been working with a home health physical therapist. He comes in, he's probably been here 4 times. He's coming today to sort of finalize things. I saw my doctor yesterday, and they took some x-rays to see what the condition of the transplant looks like, and everything looks really good. And my doctor said he's very pleased with how everything looks, and that I've just got to keep walking. That's the best exercise, and the best way to recover is to have weight on it, and to also, you know, all of those tissues that were moved and interrupted and cut and whatever, in order for them to sort of go back to the way they need to be. So imagine the amount of muscles and sort of all those little muscles need to activate for balance and stuff. And if you're just doing exercises in a chair on your bed or something like that, you just don't have that same activation of all those little muscles and connective tissues and all that stuff. And so by walking, and you know, just the act of being on your feet, turning, you know, all that sort of stuff, that really makes all of that work pretty hard, and is really the best way, apparently, to fix that. So so I have been trying to walk as much as I can, and just kind of keep up with it, because from what people have told me, the sort of most people are perfectly fine with this surgery and have great outcomes, but the people that don't, outside of something like an infection or, you know, something that's not really in their control, it's because they don't do the work. They don't do physical therapy, either because they're in pain or they just don't want to do it, or, you know, whatever the case is. But you know, why go through the surgery if you're not gonna? And we're not talking like hitting the gym here and, you know, like really you know, heavy duty exercise. This is like real basic stuff, you know, like there's certain exercises, leg lifts, and I mean, it's all, I mean, yes, it's not pleasant and comfortable, but at the same time, it's not like so excruciating that you can't do it. And but I've been through enough stuff with being laid up in a hospital bed, or, you know, having injuries that I have to compensate for, and the physical therapy is hugely important. And and is definitely not easy. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's, you know, a walk in the park, but it's just you got to do it, you know? Because if you lose, I mean, to me, my greatest fear is losing mobility, losing the ability to care for myself, making that someone else's problem. I really, I really don't think that's fair, that if it's within my power to keep myself healthy enough to be mobile, to, you know, to care for myself, that I not do it and then just make someone else have to do it. I think that's a really unfair thing to do. You know, at a bare minimum, I don't know. You know, this is how I feel. I think that if you can keep yourself healthy enough to, and I understand that I'm in a very different situation than a lot of people. Like, of course, most people are just healthy enough. It's a given that you can take care of yourself. But, you know, if you've been through a serious illness, it's really, it's very difficult to come back and to maintain that. And sometimes, especially if you're despondent and you just really, you know, you can get depressed pretty easily, and it can be difficult to motivate yourself to do anything, let alone difficult things. And so I understand, but I also know, having been there, that you just have to do it, you know. My experience has been, in a lot of cases, you don't necessarily get better. You just you regain functionality, and that's sounds like I'm splitting hairs, but the difference being that you're not like, you know, I'm never going to be athletic again. And that's not shutting a door, or, like, my body just isn't going to let me do that. But I can have a reasonably normal life. Well, I say that now. If myself 10 years ago would certainly not have thought this was normal or reasonable, but you learn to accept things, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so having done the work so far with this particular issue, that I'm so happy to see that, you know, the functionality is back and that I am walking. I'm not using a cane. I'm not using anything. I needed a walker for a few days and then a cane for about a week, and, you know, that's over with too, and all good things. All good things. I'm rambling. I apologize for that. For any of you that haven't been through something like this, it's like having kids. You either have kids or you don't, and you understand what it's like to have children and deal with it, and not just deal with it, but just all of the good things and all the bad things, and just the responsibility that comes with it. Your life changes, and there's no unchanging it. Like, it is what it is, and when you just don't understand that until you're in that situation. I'm sorry for the water running. Anyway, being sick is a lot like that. Nobody chooses to be sick. Well, I guess I could complain about, like, smokers and stuff like that. People who live unhealthy lifestyles, I guess, technically, are gambling. You know, maybe they will, maybe they won't get sick. But most of us certainly don't choose to get sick. And when you do, your life is rarely the same. I mean, I'm talking like chronic illness sick, not appendicitis. You know, you don't have a choice. You do the best you can to navigate medical stuff, you know, doctors and hospitals and all that, and insurance companies, but you're never the same, and you lose control of a lot of things, and it gets really difficult to you kind of feel like you lose your identity a little, not a little, a lot sometimes, and, you know, you either roll with it or you don't. And I'm not gonna I'm not going to stop trying to eke every little, bit of life I can get. I'm not going through all this for fun. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my friends, for my, for myself. And it's in spite of all of the things. It's certainly not because of. So anyway, I've been really preachy in this video. I apologize for that. All right, let me rinse off and finish up. All right, let's go with a little splash. It's a very nice one. That is a beautiful splash. Very nice skin food ingredients. Lovely fragrance. And not too strong, which I like. It's got a little bit of fragrance to it, but it doesn't project strongly, which I appreciate. So, okay, so there we go. Excellent shave. Life is good. Thank you for watching, stopping by. I appreciate it. I hope all of you are doing well. Legitimately, seriously, I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I look forward to saying hello again very soon. So until then, take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.